That's what vets go through. We always got to bite our tongue. We don't get to, they say, oh, you get to be who you want. Some people want to be unicorns. Well, you got 335 million Americans in the United States, 15 million veterans in the United States. Do the math. Means that can actually do a veteran some justice and get them to a place that they deserve to be at, and it's a place that's happy and fulfilled in life. So, after all this craziness and chaotic bullshit happens in theater and combat, one day you get on a plane, you come home, feet hit the soil, you hit the deck, and it just hits you like a wave crashing on the shore. Like the emotions, the guys that aren't there with you, the empty rooms, the empty beds, some of the families lingering around the base, picking up loose ends. And you just know, like, it's not good. But they tell you, like, don't tell them. When they say don't tell them, don't tell the psych that you're bothered. Just tell them you're good. Tell them shit's wrong. They're gonna keep you. They're gonna hold you up. You ain't gonna go on leave. So, you go into these meetings, you sit down, they're like, did you kill anybody? Nope. See anything bad? Nope. Anything bad? Anything bothering you? Nope. I'm good. Like you're in this mode of like mission accomplishment again. I'm going to go drink my beer. I got to get on the next bird. I got to go on the next deployment. I'm not getting left out. I'm not going on light duty. That was all that shit was frowned upon. There's guys I know that checked out. There's guys I know that checked out on light duty before this shit went down, and they'll never forgive themselves. They're some of the most fucked up individuals on the planet because at a time in their life when they were so young and they couldn't process what they were about to go through and what was about to happen, they chickened out. And our country says, our people just think like, oh man, like I went over there and fought for freedom. Well, yeah, I joined to protect and serve, my country, defend it, the Constitution of the United States, but when you're in the shit, is a guy to your left and right. And that's who you're fighting for. And those are the ones that don't come home. And then you hide it. And you shove it down deep. And then when the shit starts coming back up, you're usually like 3-4 years down the road and no one even has a clue what the hell you went through, what you did, how it affected you. And they don't even know what to do, how to take you. They don't understand the outburst of emotion. They don't understand when your hair stands up on your arms or when you see the shit we see on today's social media or the TV. Like, I don't even watch the news. If I watched the news, I'd be a complete asshole. I don't even think I'd survive corporate America if I watched the news on a daily basis. The news just pisses me off. Politics pisses me off. Half of the shit we hear is lies anyways. That's what we defend. Now we sit here, current day and age, Iran and Israel. What's right, what's wrong? How many guys are going to die for that? How many people are going to lose their lives or their loved ones? And for what? They'll send us in and then they'll fucking throw the reins on us just like they did after Fallujah. Guys like Daniel go over and serve, like yourself. You're not allowed to go full throttle. You got to hold back. Mothers of America getting involved in a game they don't understand. But that's why a lot of guys come back and they have a lot of issues. They have a lot of issues because they can't say the truth. They can't really say exactly what needs to be said. Call the people out that need to be called out. There's a lot of leaders that don't deserve to be leaders in this country. There's a lot of good men that fucking gave their lives for a way better cause bigger than their own. And they're way braver and have more courage than half the people up there calling shots. And it's actually a spit in the face when you sit here and watch some politician get their fancy ass benefits for their whole life. But then we got to go fight for ours after the fact. All this shit comes down. And we were told, shut your mouth and tell them nothing's wrong.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. Then you have to.
Happens all too often.
Then you have to go through the struggle of trying to document and find evidence. And one of the things that we like to focus on Operation Onward is that time of transition out of the military. And you know, you kind of alluded to and spoke a little bit about some of those mental scars that so many of our brothers and sisters carry on after service. And the military does a lot of things right, but one thing that they just shit the bed on is the transition out of the military. They give us no, you know, preparation for that shift. And you know, I know that you have started an amazing foundation, Reunite the Fight, and we'll get to that in just a minute. But maybe you can speak a bit about your transition experience. You know, kind of where you found yourself after that fact, and then what drove you to be such a game changer in the veteran community today.
Yeah, no, it's a good question. And, you know, there's a lot of theoretically, but, you know, when you talk about the actuality of what took place when I left, I didn't really know how to go forward at that point because I didn't know what was up, down, left, or right. And I left the Corps thinking this is the safest thing for me. Maybe the safest thing for the fucking Corps, to be quite honest, because I was not in the right mental space. You know, you go over there, and I mean, there's guys who come over, they get hit with like a piece of tiny shrapnel, and they're like in the BAS crying. I was packing sand and frickin' open holes in my body to stay in the fight. And that was literal. So when I left, I was out, I don't know, 3 months. Got out in March 2005. Got out. Got a job with a company digging fucking sprinkler trenches. $8.50 an hour. Just to stay busy. Me and a bunch of dudes who didn't speak English became really good friends. Because they didn't understand me and I didn't understand them. But I put my headphones on and my blinders on and I just dug that fucking trench like it was nobody's business. Went to college. And then I went to an interview with a government agency, you know, over at TACOM in Warren, Michigan. I sat down with this guy. And my resume was basically Marine Corps, high school Marine Corps. He said, you ain't got no management experience. Like, why the fuck you interviewing for this job? Now, I remember at that point in my life, like I told you how I was as a kid. I was a hothead. I was a hothead in the Corps too. And I didn't take no shit off of nobody. And kind of like the loud outfits and the persona is just a distraction. No one ever expects this guy to come at you like hell on wheels when it happens. So everybody expects the guy in the grunt shirt and, you know, got my no fear, death and glory shit on. They all expect that guy to get fucking fired up. No one expects the guy in the flowered shirts and the fuchsia shorts to get fired up. So I have an MO for everything I do. But, you know, in the end, that was a moment in my life where I wanted to fucking kill somebody. And I'm proud to say it. Because I was able to somehow walk up and get out of that room because there was nothing more that I wanted. It was choke the life out of this guy because he had no clue what was going on inside of me. But I marched my ass right back into the Marine Corps recruiting office and said, how do I go back? What do I got to do? And luckily at that time, the Marine Corps still needed people. So they weren't like gridlocking somebody out or stopping somebody from coming back. So I got to go back, spend another 6 years, almost 5 years, 9 months and some change. But Marine Corps saved my life. You know, it did. Because if I didn't go back, I don't think I would have survived because I was in a rough spot. I didn't have nobody to talk to, nobody to understand. And because of that crash that took place on the 26th of January, I only had like 4 fucking people that I talked to out of 41. I was 1 of 9 out of 41 to come home. And out of them 9, I was 1 of 5 that didn't end up in Bethesda, severely wounded. So for me, and there's some guys that I haven't talked to since then because that's how bad off they are. And they're still that bad off today. And I know that because you don't even know or hear from them. And if I could find them, I would. I would. I'd wrap my arms around them and tell them it's all good. Because they did shit that they couldn't do, and then there's shit that they didn't do that they probably should have done, but they didn't understand it. Too young. You know, I was fortunate. I was fortunate that I was able to handle the pressure and handle the environment that I was in when I was in it. But a lot of these guys that come home in this transition, for me, going back in the Corps was a great thing. But 2009 rolled around because I was going to go be an officer, seeing the retirement benefits. All right, I'm going to do 20. I'm going to go fly. Had a bunch of air wing officers convince me to go fly. I did everything from the ground. Might as well do everything from the sky. Took the military aptitude flight test. You know, went down to like Russell Leadership Conference and helped rewrite like the manual for urbanized warfare with a bunch of other squad leaders, badasses that went through the same shit I did, understood what it was like to kick a door down and how it was going to change everybody's lives when it did, and really get people out of like the Vietnam era mold and put them into the new age Iraq, Afghanistan mold, really Iraq because it was more urban warfare there. So I did a bunch. And then under Obama's administration, they changed the tattoo policy from under the green on green to one larger than the size of the palm of a hand, 4 more anywhere on the body. So I got disqualified. And what are you going to do next? Well, I didn't fucking know. Colonel walked down from one of the government programs, said, hey, why don't you come down and work for me? What am I going to do? Train people how to do what you do. That sounds fucking pretty easy enough. Well, what do you want? Weapons, lasers, sight sensors, robots, everything you used in theater. You're just going to take it overseas, show them how to use it, show them how to kick ass and take names. All right. That's my next phase of life, right? Working for the government. In that same time frame, met a girl, got pregnant. Not me, thankfully. God knows I couldn't handle that shit. But had my first daughter. Hats off to all the women out there, right? They're better than me in that department. But had first kid, spent a lot of time overseas. And, you know, married this girl. She says one day, like, I can't take it no more. Like, you either got to come home or I can't do this because I didn't sign up to be a single mom. But I was like, I loved it. I was around military guys. I was laughing. I was watching these young idiots do stupid shit, and it was just helping me pass time. But it wasn't good for her. So I got, quit the government, had a degree in the medical field, got into medical sales. It was a good job. Still is a good job. I'm still in it. I love it, right? Provided my family a life, provided me a life. And, it took a while, a lot of adjustment. Corporate America, I'll give you a quick story about being in medical sales. I was in a big corporate meeting, and I was trying to give my opinion on a sales tactic. And I had someone who'd been in sales for maybe 20 years. She got up and tried to give me an analogy about a sniper. Now, that, mind you, this is someone that leaned pretty far left. She had 0 military experience, and she gave me an analogy about a sniper. Imagine where my head went. Well, I got up, started knife handing the whole fucking room, and lost my shit. Didn't lose my job, thankfully, but lost my shit. And it was one of those real true moments of PTSD where I was just on another planet for a moment. I mean, to the point where like people came up and was like, holy shit, man, like you can't do that. And I didn't care. At that point, I was like, if you're going to fire me, just fire me. I'm good. I don't care. If you don't want me on your team, I don't want to be on your team. I'm good. But there was no way in hell this girl was going to talk to me about a sniper analogy, about what it took a sniper to do to take out its target, and then relate it to her cushy ass fucking $100,000, $200,000 life that she had for 20 fucking years. When I was making $14 an hour to kick indoors, watch my buddies die, get blown up, faces melt off, and everything else in my life, there was no fucking way that was going to happen. That was what threw my mold, but they still don't understand that. They don't understand it because I could never say that to them in a corporate America setting. Otherwise, they'd be like, this guy's freaking crazy. We need to get rid of him.
Yeah.
But that's what vets go through. We always got to bite our tongue. We don't get to, they say, oh, you get to be who you want. So you could be gay. I don't care if you're gay. It doesn't bother me. Some people want to be unicorns, fucking kitty cats. I don't give a shit. Be whatever the fuck you want. But I can't be me. I can't be me in this world. If I was me, I'd scare the shit out of everybody. If I was my real true self, the world would be put on notice. A lot of people who know me know this, right? They get it. They understand it. But it takes one to know one. And a lot of people don't know and understand vets because they're like, look at the percentages. How many people wear a uniform? How many people can say they served? 15.
Less than 1% now, I think, of the U.S. population.
Well, you got 335 million Americans in the United States, 15 million veterans in the United States. Do the math, right? And I mean, we're losing them by the day because of generations, right? Vietnam's next. World War II's ending. Right? We're on our last leg of World War II vets. So, that number's going to change too. And then who knows what's in the future. But literally, that's where we're at. 1-2% people that actually can say they did it, got the postcard. So when we look at transitioning and how we can get military, I don't think there's a bad job. I think it's the fact that they're so focused on the next mission, but they don't have an organization in place to take over the transitioning part.
Yeah.
And so it's just check the block. You got to get a vaccine before you go on deployment. You check the block. Oh, you're getting out and you need TAPS. All right. Well, you got a class on a resume. Check the block. We're not putting the same amount of effort into the soon-to-be veteran as we did the same amount of effort when we're trying to prepare them to go to war. They'll prepare you to go to war all effing day. But when it comes time to like prepare that person for the war that they're really going to fight, because when you're in, it's one of the safest places you could ever be.
You've got people fighting next to you.
Oh, yeah.
When you get out, you're fighting it alone.
Correct. You got people who understand.
I was going to say, would you say a lot of that maybe kind of what you went through and what your buddies went through was sort of like your drive behind creating like Reunite the Fight, your foundation, or like what was sort of like the tipping point for that?
Yeah, so the tipping point for Reunite the Fight was in 2016. Went on a hunt. You guys know Matt, Big Matt, right? Throws me over his shoulder and tells me when I can party and when I can't party. That Matt? Yeah. He and I went on a bear hunt with a doc that we served with in Corman, for layman's terms. And 2 months later, he blew his head off in a parking lot. He was in a bad spot. We thought he was in a better spot. He was in a better spot when we left, but he was in a bad spot. Jobless, directionless, didn't have a clue what he was going to do. Blows his head off, sucks on a 50 caliber bullet, 500 Smith & Wesson in a freaking parking lot. And I was like, I wonder how many people we really lost so far. And when we did the math, it was 86. I was like, fuck.
To suicide?
To suicide. So 93 lost in battle, 86 lost to suicide in 11 years. It was mind-blowing. Like, a statistic that I was just like, whoa, we got to frickin' do something. Like, we got way too many dudes taking their own lives. And for what? Country just leaves them empty-handed. And at that time, the VA was even, way worse than it is now. I mean, the VA has had improvements, but it's still nowhere near where it should be, right? I mean, organizations like mine and yours don't exist without the issues that are currently in place. So when we came up with this idea, it was, what has helped us? Like, what are we going to do? Well, let's start an organization. Well, what's it going to be about? Well, it should be about getting veterans back around other veterans, right? And particularly like similar eras at the very least, but if we can get them back with people they served with, like, that's the best form of therapy. You get around somebody you served with, it's like instantly back in the mold. You're talking about the good times, the bad times, the ugly times, the guys that are here, the guys that aren't here. And it's like an instant just, meaning of trust. You don't have to worry about what this person's, there's no judgment. No one's going to judge you. You don't have to worry about what you say or what you don't say. You don't have to worry about telling somebody where you fucked up or where you failed or, because they all went through it too. They're all going through it. And the ones who are figuring it out, well, now we got something to talk about, because if you figured it out, how the hell did you figure it out? Show me how to figure it out. And who are you going to trust more than somebody that you went downrange with to your left and right, who had your back when you were pinned in a house, about ready to bite on your last bullet? Who are you going to trust more than that? No one. There's no program out there. There's no psychiatrist out there. There's no psychologist. There's no mental health professional out there that can outdo that. I don't care what doctor or what nurse or what healthcare professional got in my face and told me otherwise. I'd tell them they're wrong, because they have no clue. And until they're in the situation I was in, they don't get to stand on the box. They don't get to stand on the podium and speak their voice. Because half the healthcare professionals in today's world medicate. Most of the guys that killed themselves, medicated on multiple products.
So other veterans that are out there that are dealing with those mental scars and that trauma, how do they get involved with Reunite the Fight?
Well, it's a real simple task. I mean, right now from an organizational standpoint, we help 300-400 veterans a year attend these retreats, right? But we help a lot more through other various ways. So reaching out to Reunite the Fight is pretty simple. You get on the website, reunitethefight.org. Click the contact us link. Reach out. If you know somebody affiliated with the organization, even better. Have them reach out to myself or any one of our team members directly. We've went through our own crawl, walk, run, bumps in the road process, figuring things out, what to do, what to not do. But I can tell you that PTSD is like a marriage. When it happens, you're married to that shit for your life. And if you think you're just going to wake up and it's going to be gone and disappear, you could probably get it to go away for a day, maybe a week, sometimes a month, but it's going to come back. It's how do you deal with it when you come back, right? You got to prepare yourself. Just like you prepared yourself for battle, you got to prepare yourself for the next battle with PTSD, But I said it's like a marriage. Like, marriages fail. Marriages fail because of emotional connection. They fail because of financial troubles. They fail because of no sense of belonging, not understanding where you're supposed to be in life when you're supposed to be there, lack of faith. So we came up with an acronym called DRIVE, right? Veteran decides to receive help, right? So now they got to figure out what they're going to do next after they decide to receive help. Like, how do we restore their purpose? Well, that's like getting them connected back into the fold with the people that they've served with, or like-minded folks like themselves. Give them a purpose. Give them a reason to want to fight. Hence the term Reunite the Fight. Like, you're reuniting and you're teaching them how to fight all over again. The skills are within them. It's how do you bring them back out? They put them away thinking they shouldn't use them anymore. Really, that's the tools that are going to save their lives when they need it. Right? So when we get into igniting faith, it's not my job to make somebody a believer, but when you're getting pinned down by ammo, fire, enemy fire and rocket rounds and IEDs and limbs are falling off, you're saying prayers. Whether you believe or not, you're like, hey, if there is a God, if you don't believe in God, help a brother out. Then you got to validate resources, right? Which we came up with. We've made our circle very tight and small for a specific reason. We partner with organizations that put the veterans first and the money second. Because everybody's worried about the money. Politicians are worried about the money. But the organizations that really put veterans first, like those are the organizations that we value, that we partner with, that we know aren't screwing vets over, but can provide some kind of value to that person's life, and then execute. Who better to execute than the veterans and the partners that we've created within Reunite the Fight, the organization, whether it's getting them help, getting their disability benefits, helping them get a job, helping them clean up their finances, whether it's refinancing their homes, getting a mortgage to get them back on the right track, or going with like veterans debt relief to get them on a payment plan to get out of debt so they can have like some financial freedom. Like how the hell are you going to go to your doctor's appointments or your mental health appointments if you can't put food on the table for your kids and your family? You're not. You're not. Doesn't matter how many pills you swallow. Eventually it all catches up with you if you don't have foundational skill sets. If you don't go back to your roots and figure out where to start and how to build yourself up, you're not going to survive. So you got to have the pack full of ammo. Just like we had a pack full of ammo and vest full of gear. Well, you got to get them back to the roots.
So as we're sort of wrapping up here, you mentioned obviously Reunite the Fight and organizations that you've partnered with, yourself as well as your foundation. Would you mind, like obviously veteran community, families that are listening, sharing just some of the resources that have been valuable, to yourself, to Reunite the Fight, your fellow buddies that you've served with that you feel would be, worth sharing?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I consider myself pretty successful, right? And I didn't get here to where I'm at overnight. I had to stumble and trip and fall and figure shit out and figure life out. And luckily I was able to come across some really great people, after starting the organization in, one of those is Remedical. So I was 80% on the disability chart, went back and, fought my way up to 90% on the disability chart. And, it wasn't like a goal of mine to be completely disabled, right? It wasn't like a goal of mine, but when I was watching people who's like went on a typewriter and chucked fucking keys for 10 years and they're sitting there with full pensions, and you all heard the story. I mean, an hour of my life defeated 20 years of most people's service in any branch. And I can tell you, like, getting in touch with Remedical, what was great is, a lot of veterans don't like to go to the VA. You get discouraged. The appointments, the cancellations, the way that they grade. You never know who's going to be looking at your case that day. You go on the roller coaster up and down. Remedical understands how to navigate that process. And to me, it was some of the best money I ever spent because I was at wit's end. I didn't want to go back in the VA. Just like I wanted to kill that guy inside of that interview in 2005. Well, I was feeling the same way about a lot of VA employees at that time. And they didn't want me back there. So it's a good thing that Remedical helped me out and helped the VA out because, probably saved some lives in the process. Because I was pretty discouraged, pretty pissed off. But what's great about them is that they have the ability to connect with veterans, because they have a lot of veterans that work with the company. They have a lot of people who are very patriotic. They're an upfront company when it comes to what fees they charge for their services, which I think is huge. Transparency is a huge deal in the veteran community. No one wants to be told one thing and then another, because that's exactly what the VA does, right? So when they say this is what you're going to pay, like that's what you're going to pay. And I mean, I think the fees are like $3,000, $3,200, something like that right now. I know with Reunite the Fight, you get a discount, so that's a good thing. If you go through Reunite the Fight, you can get a couple $100 off, which, you know, a couple $100 is something. It's a week of groceries, whatever. But I look at everything like an investment opportunity. And so you're investing in yourself by investing in people who actually want to, you know, take your back, get your six, and help you get what you deserve. And so you can navigate the VA process all you want for free, or with older organizations. And these aren't bad organizations, but like VFW, DAV, like they're just older. They're outdated. They don't understand today's veterans and the communities that we live in. And I think that's where Remedical separates themselves, is they're honest, they're transparent, and when they say they're going to do something, they do it. And they got a good team of medical professionals that align with the VA and align with the protocols, and they're helping veterans get what they deserve. And to me, that's what it's all about. We all played enough frickin' games in the military. We don't need to play anymore when it comes to our health and our benefits. What we fought for, we deserve. So when organizations like Remedical want to come out and help veterans get what they deserve, that's a huge added benefit. They helped me. And now they've helped several others, hundreds of others, if not thousands of others, through Reunite the Fight at this point. And if I can help thousands more, tens of thousands more, that's what I look and plan to do with the organization in partnership with Remedical. Another organization, is Reduced Fee Mortgage. So Eric Oros, he's phenomenal, real estate mind, family history of military service. One day I'm sitting on the couch, COVID era, interest rates are plummeting. I'm like, hey, I could save a ton of money. I connect with Eric directly and heard his family story. And this is a guy that like literally he's not about making the money. Like obviously these companies make a profit for themselves, right? But nowhere near the profits that some of these other organizations make. They're really technically donating some of what they should get to make sure veterans get the absolute best rates, whether you're talking disability benefits and how much money they're going to pay to get those, or whether you're talking a mortgage rate and how much it's going to cost to close a loan, or what they need to do it. Like Eric's not interested in just plucking somebody out of the system. If it takes him 3 months to get this person refinanced because he says, hey, go do XYZ first and you'll get a better rate. Or, hey, we're going to get your credit score here because this is going to benefit you in the long run. You'll get a better interest rate. Or just some little nuances and pieces of information that most companies, they don't care. If they can get you right then and there, they'll take you and they'll put you in a worse situation just to get your money. And that's what I value about guys like Eric. And what we've really done that's unique through Reunite the Fight is we created a Heroes Advantage program. And so we've partnered with title companies, real estate agents, and Eric kind of spearheads this and leads the charge as the broker, because he has partnerships with lenders. And essentially what they do is they donate a portion of their profits and their proceeds. So if you're looking at the everyday scale, when you get online and you say, what are the rates today? And everybody says, fill out my form and tell me how much money you make and give me all your information, and then they still don't give you a straight answer. If the rate's 5.5%, Eric's going to give you a 5.25% because he's going to help you buy your rate down, extend the life of your mortgage, which is your most valuable asset in today's world, help you get rid of your debt in the same time and process, but give your family a foundation to stand on. And really, when you're looking at it from a monthly standpoint, yeah, okay, so you're saving a few bucks. But when you look at the life of a mortgage over 30 years, we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars in savings. And this isn't something that's done by many companies out there. So to partner with Eric and, the people that he's brought into this program, and I know he's going to come on your show and he's going to talk about that and more in depth. So I'm not going to beat a dead horse because that'll be a good episode to catch. But this is a guy that, you know, wears the shirt on his back and his heart on his sleeve, and he does what he said he's going to do. And, you know, that's what the organizations that we partner with do. Apex Recruiting, MagTech Recruiting, Prestige Enterprises, Prestige Staffing. These are recruiting houses that put veterans first. Like, we're going to get you into the big three. We're going to get you a job. We're not getting you a $15 job, cutting grass, being a carpenter. We're going to get you a job, salary, benefits. We're going to take your skill sets. Even if it's just management and organization at that point, and we're going to put you in a place that you can thrive and excel, that are veteran-centric. They want veterans that know how to show up to work on time. They understand what it's like to be professional. And again, it's all about them foundational building blocks of helping vets have a purpose, getting them a job, putting them in a financial situation that they can afford, thrive in, live in, and getting them the fucking benefits they deserve. Amen. Because nobody else deserves it more than them.
And all these, so like Eric, I know Re-Medical, our audience can go to reunitethefight.org and find all of those resources, right?
100%. 100%. Our Heroes Advantage program is listed on our website. You know, Eric's contact information is there. It talks about exactly what the Heroes Advantage program does, what it is, who it's partnered with. If you're a business, a realtor, a broker, or a lender, and you want to learn how you can get involved with it, Eric's contact information is there. The more partners in this, the better. And the Heroes Advantage not only covers military, but Eric also extends his arms out to nurses, healthcare providers, police, fire, other folks in civil service jobs where we all know that are very important in today's community. So it's really a hats off to him and what he's done to build that program. But same thing with Re-Medical. I mean, if you're going to throw 1,000 companies at me, Re-Medical would be top of my list every single time when it comes to ensuring veterans get the benefits that they deserve at a price point that is affordable and makes sense. And unfortunately, these services can't be free, right? Like, somebody is doing the work and somebody is putting in that time, but it's a very minimal cost. When you look at where you're at now, even if you're sitting at 90%, you're making $2,200 a month, $2,300 a month, you go to 100%.
43.
Yeah, $4,300, $4,400 a month on top of property taxes, college. Like, there's so many other added benefits to getting to that rate that stand outside of that dollar fee. And they got payment plans. They got payment plans that align with veterans who are in a hardship and a struggle. And now, I mean, we're focusing on bridging the gap and finding companies that want to actually pay for vets who can't afford it to get them the benefits that they deserve.
Right.
And Re also doesn't take any, percentage of back pay that veteran
100%.
may get from VA, which I think is also huge because there's a lot of companies out there that will take, a huge percentage on the back end. So I think that's definitely
absolutely. What you see is what you get. And that's what I love about the organizations that we've partnered with is they're the same mold and model that I was as a Marine in the military, and it was what you see is what you get. And sometimes it's fuchsia shorts and fucking flowered shirts, but it's going to be good at the end.
It's going to be good at the end. So kind of closing out, one thing we do with every one of our veteran guests is just kind of ask them to speak past the camera to the military community, to the veteran community that's listening, from your experience, from the things that you've gone through, from the things that you've taken through life, and the things that you've created now for the veteran community. If you could just leave our veteran audience with a mission, with a goal, with some wisdom, what would that be?
Yeah, so if I'm going to sum up things, I mean, everybody has a past. Like, don't look in your past to find answers, Look at your past to propel you to your future. If you don't have faith, find it. That's number one. If you don't have your faith, you have nothing. Life lasts a very, very short time. What's to come is going to last forever. So find your faith. Secondly, it's just we all make mistakes. We all screw up. None of us are perfect. If you think you're the only one who's in a hard spot, or you think, oh man, Scott Gatto's got it all figured out. I'm still figuring shit out today. Nobody has everything figured out. But together, that's what the military taught us, is when we work together, when we come together, when we bring that esprit de corps, that camaraderie, you can do anything. I mean, I look at Fallujah, prime example. Without, another 180 badass motherfuckers by my side, I wouldn't be sitting here having this conversation. Not a chance in hell. I just got lucky. So sometimes it's better to be lucky than be good. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than be great. But if you're struggling, don't be afraid to reach out to your bros, your sisters, the people who picked the pack up with you, toted the gun with you, folks that actually want to help you in your community. Take their help. Get the resources. Go to Reunite the Fight. Go to Remedical. Go to Reduce Free Mortgage. Learn about how you can fix yourself. If you think that you're at rock bottom, like this is a great time for you to probably figure out the things that you can do to get back on top. Because in my opinion, there's nobody better to figure shit out than somebody who's been in some rough times as a veteran, or military service member. You have the skill sets. They're in you. They're somewhere. You just got to look in the mirror and see it and believe it again. It might seem like it's hopeless or an endless, path with no light at the end of the tunnel, but I promise you, sometimes a conversation with somebody that you served with, a little pick-me-up, maybe even a slap on the ass that says, hey, or a punch in the chest, like, hey, tighten up your shot group. Everybody knows the conversation from their time wearing a uniform. Sometimes that's what you need. And that's why getting around other veterans is a great thing. It's a beautiful thing. And the smile, the laughter, the jokes, veterans I know, veterans I don't know, veterans I just met. I mean, we're one big happy family, regardless of branch of service, regardless of what you did as an MOS. You raise your right hand, support, defend the Constitution of the United States. You're somebody in this world. You're a 1%er. There's like 99 other % of people who are selfish and think about themselves, and they'll openly admit that they could never do it themselves. So if you're one of those veterans struggling, reach out to my organization or some of the fellow partners with us. Don't be afraid to do that. If you're afraid to do that, you're failing. At that point, you're failing. So don't be afraid. And if you're a person out there that owns a business, wants to get involved, wants to help veterans, well, you can visit my website, look up Remedical, look up Heroes Advantage. There's a plethora of ways that you can get involved and give back to veterans without even having to lift a dollar out of your pocket. Just becoming a partner of one of our programs and organizations that can actually do a veteran some justice and get them to a place that they deserve to be at, and it's a place that's happy and fulfilled in life. So that's all I got.
Thank you, Scott. I appreciate you being here today, man.
Being here, Scott. Awesome.
All right.
Now, where's
Let's go
that
get a
free
beer.
beer?